So, last time we took a look at the book Breakthrough Advertising by Eugene Schwartz. And today I will share a summary with you so that it's fresh in your mind and you can remember it. I will also share some practical examples with you so that you have a better idea of how these things work. And the next time you need to generate headlines, you'll have more ideas to make them perform even better. So, first things first, quick summary of the book. Eugene sees copywriting as a step-by-step process, which means that he's basically sees it as leading someone on a journey where you must build a bridge between what your audience currently believes and what they want to get to or what you want them to get to. And you must build bridges and steps in between that. And this involves your headline, your body copy, and your offer. And you need to structure them in a way so that they all move the reader from interest to desire to action. The main theme of Eugene is that he's speaking a lot about mass desire. And we don't create these desires, but these are desires that are already there. So these are permanent desires and then non-permanent, so forces of change, which are trends and stuff like that. And we need to channel those desires onto our products and onto our ads. Well, this is the job of our ads. So how do we do that? We choose one powerful desire that potentially suits our products. We acknowledge that desire, we reinforce it, and then we offer to satisfy it. And that's what we do in the headline. And then we show how our product can do that. That's a simple way of making an ad, but that a way of making it that it's fundamentally sound. Now, how can we make this claim believable? This is why by using features. So these are the desires are the benefits, sort of, and then we make them believable by the features. We can use the features to justify the price, to say that the quality, the performance, give technical reasons why they work, chemically protected paper, things like this. Now, Eugene, for making a good headline, talks about awareness levels and sophistication levels. So awareness levels is basically how aware is your audience of your products and the desire and the problem that is linked to your product. So people might be most aware, which means they're like completely aware of your product and they already know they want it, and they probably already know your specific product and service for you as like a provider. And that's I'm not going to go over the specific methods. We discussed this last time. For product aware, these are people that are aware of your products but not entirely convinced yet. Solution aware is basically they recognize the desire but don't know the product yet. Problem aware is people that don't really have a desire but more of a problem and needs, and they recognize the needs and they feel the problem but they might not know the solution. And then unaware is that they're not aware of their problems, or it's like too much in their subconscious and like they won't honestly admit it without being led into it. So this is the awareness levels, and these are some examples of how we can do that. Make a good copy for that. Now the sophistication levels are basically how complex is the market. We have markets that are very unsophisticated, so these are products that or offers that people haven't seen yet. And then we can have markets that are very sophisticated, which are offers that have been promised to people 1,000 times before, and people are very familiar to it and might not believe everything as perfectly anymore. And that's basically what sophistication is. So for the unsophisticated markets, we just simply state the things as they are. Then as they move into proper sophistication, a bit more complex, then we need to think about mechanisms. And at the end of that, when markets are super complex, then we move more into unaware style messaging. which is like the fifth stage of sophistication. Art of creating planning. So every headline requires a unique strategy and thought. Motivation research is important on your audience so that you know what they want. Often there is a dominant benefits to your products. So there might be many benefits, but there might be one benefit that really drives the sales. And that's kind of what I want to say there. For the copywriting, so that's the second part of the book. This is where Eugene shares 7 breakthrough techniques. This is where we have the 3 most important ones, or desire, which are intensification, intensifying desire. Identifications, which are about the prospects, the personality of the prospects, and linking the product or the service to a certain personality or certain values that are linked with those personality that this person wants to become. So these might be their hopes, their dreams, their ambitions, their self-image. This is the second one, identifications. And then the third one is beliefs, which is gradualization. The technique is called gradualization, and this means gradually leading someone from their current beliefs to a more beneficial belief or more clear belief about your product. And we do that by leading them gradually. Those are the most important 3 for creating good body copy. So that's intensification here, identification for beliefs, and gradualization for beliefs and identification for personality. And the last 4 techniques are redefinition, which is basically objection handling, mechanization, which is like building out new mechanisms in detail in the copy when we can use that. And concentration is like concentrating on why your product is better than the competitors, mostly. Camouflage is then about hiding the sell. It's about making your ads appear organic. And this will bypass, a feeling of resistance, or bypass the defense mechanisms of someone that's reading your ads, because they think it's like a normal post. And this is really the most important part of Eugene Schwartz's book. So something I want to share with you here is the 38 headline patterns of Eugene Schwartz. And I want to share that because the fundamental principles that Eugene gives in the first part of the book, they are great to create a fundamentally sound headline, which is setting you well on your way to having a great ad. But by using these 38 headline patterns, we're able to add a little bit of sizzle on top of the headlines to make them appear more unique and make them perform better. And I also want to share this with you because I want to give you some practical examples and just share some ideas with you so that you understand the principles a bit better. So first things first, basically what I just said is what Eugene calls verbalization, and that's by using the fundamental principles and layering the patterns on top of that. We do that because they strengthen the claim by enlarging upon it, measuring it, or making it more vivid, or by making the headline or the claim new and fresh again, by giving it some unique angle, changing it, or narrating it, or challenging the reader. Or we can pull the prospect into the body of the ad a bit better by giving him information or questioning him or stuff like that. So that is why we use these 38 headline patterns. And to give you an example of that, the first one is measuring the size of the claim. So this is a headline for cigarettes, and here, if we just state that Viceroy, which is the brand name, Viceroy Tasty Cigarettes as a headline, that might work in a very unsophisticated market, but it's a very simple headline. And so just by measuring the size of something, we can sometimes make it seem a little bit more appealing. But this is like simple things, but if you don't think about that, then you might not have the creativity to create headlines that perform a little bit better. So another example is for weight loss, I am 61 pounds lighter just by measuring it. Or whoever heard of 17,000 blooms from a single plant. We measure something and that gives the user like a better idea and is like a unique angle for the headline. So that's what we're doing, like the verbalization, which Schwartz is talking about here. Now, let's analyze this headline a little bit more because I want you to understand awareness levels and sophistication levels. So 20,000 filter traps in Viceroy. All right, which awareness level is this? So first of all, what are we selling here? We're selling cigarettes, and Viceroy is the brand. So the brand name is mentioned here, so probably is going to be product aware. And to me, it seems like it is product aware because we're not shoving some kind of a discount or promotion here. So it's probably not most aware. And it's also not like we're addressing some kind of desire that this product fulfills, or we're not really addressing some kind of a problem that it solves. It's just pretty straightforward, the brand name and then a mechanism. So it's product aware. Now, the sophistication stage, now, obviously this is a mechanism that they're using here. This is like a filter. Back in the day, this was a new mechanism for cigarettes. And so the fact that they're using a mechanism already makes it a little bit more sophisticated. But they're not just talking about the mechanism, they're talking about why the mechanism is great. So this is not sophistication stage 3, but it's sophistication stage 4. Because it doesn't just talk about Viceroy now with filter traps. It talks about Viceroy now with 20,000 filter traps, which makes it sophistication stage 4. So that just gives you an idea. Let's analyze the next headline. I'm 61 pounds lighter. So what is the product we're selling here? Well, we don't know what we're selling because there is no mention of it. So it's probably not product aware. But it is desire aware, it is solution aware, because it's talking, it's literally, well, not literally, but it's putting it on display here that we're talking about weight loss. So this is going to trigger and entice people who want to lose weight. Now, you could argue that because it's phrased in kind of like a story format, I'm 61 pounds lighter, that maybe we could be unaware, like you could make an argument for that. But I would say it's still pretty obviously solution aware or desire aware, because I mean, it's pretty obvious we're talking about weight loss here, and it's phrased in a very obvious way. So I would say it's solution aware. Sophistication stage, this is not any new mechanism, but this is not sophistication stage 1 either, because we're enlarging upon it. So I would say this is sophistication stage 2. Pretty simple, but just enlarging a little bit upon it, so it's not 1 but 2. Next headline, let's analyze it. Who ever heard of 17,000 blooms from a single plant? So this is a famous ad in Eugene's book. They're selling like some kind of a plant or plant seed or something like that. And so obviously the awareness level for me, it's a little bit more difficult to make out here. I can say it's not product aware and it's not most aware, because there is no mention of the product or the brand here. Is it problem aware? Probably not. It's not problem aware because there is no problem here. So I'm going to guess either between desire aware or unaware. And my understanding would say, based upon, I don't remember exactly in the book, I think this was unaware, but I'm not sure. But what I would say is based upon the conditions of the market and how this headline would be perceived, It would either be unaware, if this is kind of like triggering something in their subconscious, or it would be just straight up desire aware. People that are looking for plants that has a lot of blooms and doing something like really specific in that way, then it would be desire aware. But I'm not sure in this case. I think it's unaware, but I'm not sure. Anyway, sophistication stage. This is sophistication stage 4, according to me, similar to the first one, because we're talking about a new mechanism. And we're talking about 17,000 blooms. So it's like 17,000 enlarging upon the mechanism. So it's sophistication stage 4. Yeah. So the second headline pattern is measuring the speed of the claim. So that's just another verbalization of the headline that Eugene calls it. Just another way we can present the headline. Feel better, fast. Bayer aspirin begins to dissolve your glass in 2 seconds. So just measuring the speed, which is also just another angle to present it. So let's analyze the first headline. Feel better fast. This is obviously, well, maybe not obviously, but to me it's obviously problem aware. Because this headline is going to trigger people who are feeling, annoyed or feeling with some kind of problem in some way. So to me, this is pretty obviously problem aware. It's going to trigger their pain. If it was solution aware, it would be framed in a more neutral way. Because you could argue, well, Bert, the desire is stated here, so isn't it solution aware? I can see the reasoning, but the thing is, it's a little bit more nuanced than that, and often, like most of the time, if it's solution aware, it's going to be framed in a more neutral way, and problem aware, it might still be phrased as a desire, but problem aware headlines are going to trigger the pain points a lot more. So to me, this is 95% problem aware. Sophistication stage, I would say sophistication stage 2. And what are we selling here? It's definitely not product aware, because we don't know what we're selling with a headline like that. So it's definitely problem aware to me. Now, next headline, in 2 seconds, Bayer aspirin begins to dissolve in your glass. So which awareness level is this? So we're talking about the brand here, Bayer aspirin. So probably to me, this is going to be product aware. I mean, to me, this is product aware. And when we're analyzing the headline, what's really going on here, and we're analyzing the sophistication stage, we could say that either this is an unsophisticated headline, but then we need to think about the desire that this headline addresses. The desire of the headline is about people, the aspirin, so it's for headaches probably. So the desire is getting rid of a headache. The desire is not to have this aspirin dissolve in your glass in 2 seconds, because that's not the problem that the product solves. Not really, not really. So this is why this whole thing, dissolving in your glass in 2 seconds, feels more like a mechanism to me. So I would say this thing is a mechanism, and I'm going to say it's sophistication stage 3, because we're addressing some unique thing about our product. That is what I would say. Now, next verbalization, next headline pattern, comparing the claim, 6 times wider washes. So not just wider washes, but 6 times wider than the competition. Costs up to $300 less than many models of the low price tree. So this is just another verbalization. I'm going to give you, I'm going to analyze these titles a little bit less because I want to show you more patterns. Metaphors are another way you can create great headlines. Banishes scorns, melts away ugly fat. Just giving it a metaphor, just some kind of a unique twist. Sensitizing the claim by making the prospect feel, smell, touch, see, or hear it. Dull, tastes like you just picked it. And then I think this is for Palmolive, the skin you love to touch. Just kind of like sensitizing the headline. Demonstrate the claim by showing a prime example, just showing like a very unique example and demonstrating the claim of the headline. So Jake LaMotta, obviously this is an example. Jake LaMotta, 160-pound fighter, fails to flatten monopaper cup. So we're selling monopaper cup and we're giving a prime example here by Jake LaMotta that fails to flatten it. So the claim is that the monopaper cup is strong and the example is that Jake LaMotta fails to flatten it. So this is a headline by David Ogilvy. At 60 miles an hour, the loudest noise in At 60 miles an hour, the loudest noise in this Rolls Royce is the electric clock. This is a headline by David Ogilvy, very, very famous headline. And basically the claim is that the Rolls Royce is very easy and doesn't make much noise. And the example is because even when the car is driving at 60 miles an hour, you know, the only thing that you're going to be hearing is going to be the electric clock, which is very silent. So it is giving an example. So remember, guys, these patterns, these are not the fundamentals of our headline, but they're just ways to give it a little bit more sizzle. The fundamentals, they are the awareness levels and the sophistication levels. These are the fundamentals. And this is just a way to give it a little bit more shine. So there are more headline patterns: dramatizing the claim or its results, state the claim as a paradox, remove limitations from the claim. You can look up all these patterns from Eugene Schwartz, and they are very useful to go over so that you have an idea what you can do. But I'm not going to, maybe some of you guys want me to review this, but I'm going to keep the video a little bit short because usually longer videos, not everyone likes it as much. So hopefully that gave you guys an idea. And if you do want me to make more videos like this, let me know. Be sure to check out my first video on Eugene Schwartz, Breakthrough Advertising, if you haven't seen that yet. In that video, I go over the book in more detail. And if you like this video or you learned something, please like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I'll see you guys next time. Have a good one. Bye-bye.